Hello folks, Jason Chrisman here, JC's Bees. Today, as I promised, we're going to do that first hive inspection. I want to go through a 10 frame hive with you, double story of course, and I want to go through one of my overwintered nukes with you, just so you can get a chance to see what that would look like. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hang around. This week, I've spotted something pretty darn exciting, and there's one just a few feet from me that I want to show you. Looky, dandelion. Yep. One over there too, and a couple over there by my driveway. So I thought that was pretty exciting to see, and I've also noticed the pollen coming in from the dandelions, which is a bright orange colored. So keep an eye open for that if you haven't already seen it. I'm also noticing that right now the apple trees are in bloom, which I thought was kind of interesting because I'm just about to the point where I'm ready to start queen rearing, and maybe this apple tree bloom is going to be about the average of when I do it every year, so it's something I'm going to have to pay attention to in the future. I know one of the signs I wait for is to see a lot of drones in my colonies before I start that procedure. So it's interesting that the apple trees are blooming, and I think back on it a little bit, I'm pretty sure they were blooming this time last year when I was about to queen rear. So might just be something to judge when I'm ready to queen rear on every year. When the apple trees bloom, you better start grafting. But anyway, we're going to go through these hives real quick, make an inspection. We're going to go through every single frame from the top of the box to the bottom of the box, just to give you an idea what they look like, what they should look like, and I'm going to throw out a few tips along the way. So even if you're not in this for the inspection itself, you might want to watch just for the tips I'm going to throw out because they can be rather handy. So check this out and see what you think. So before we proceed, I'm going to change the angle of your view. Not by moving the camera, just by simply clipping this wide lens onto the camera. I think it's going to help you see a lot more of what's going on. Let me get it adjusted just right where I want it. There, I think that will make a big difference on what you're able to see, and not make it so that I have to hold things in a really tight, narrow area for you to see them. I'm going to start off by giving them a little bit of smoke. Let them know Daddy's coming. You better be good girls. Now this particular hive is a deep on the bottom and a medium on top, and my feeding spacer, which I will probably be removing. Yes, the feeding spacer will not be going back on. We'll set everything off to the side here. Pollen patties, we're going to have to remove them at least for now. It's funny because I was noticing a bunch of little pieces of wax paper out in front of the hive this morning where they've been trying to remove it. All right, ladies, move down in there. I don't want to scrape anybody's head off. Come on, out of the way. Look out, Hop Sing. Yep, that's a Bonanza reference. Now, one thing you don't want to do when you're cleaning off pieces of burr comb like this is you don't want to throw them on the ground. Collect them. Save those pieces of burr comb, and by the end of the season you'll have a nice big block of wax to melt down. But by throwing them on the ground, you're going to bring in wax moths, and you don't really want to bring in a pest. So let's start looking through this top box and see what we got. No bees, no bees. This is where the bees start, is on this frame. So I'm going to move the empty frame out of the way. That'll give me some room to move this out of the way, and I won't squish any bees that way. Honey. Got some pollen down at the bottom. But see, we got some wet nectar, pollen, 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 and capped honey. On this side, we've got a little bit of wet nectar and a little bit of capped. Now, if you just started following me and you're seeing this hive tool, you're probably wondering where I got it. I'm going to leave a link down in the video description, and you can purchase this tool for less than $20. This is a multi-purpose tool. It does everything you need to do. It used to be that I would find myself bringing a couple hive tools to the bee yard to do this. Now I only need the one. Okay, so on this frame, we've got honey. We've got a little bit of capped brood. I don't see any eggs. And on this side, mostly pollen stores. So far I have not seen a drone, and that's one of the things I'm looking for because I'm ready to start queen rearing. And before I can start that, I want to see drones. Now, granted, the queen will not mate with drones from her own colony, but seeing drones will tell me that the feral colonies and my other colonies are raising drones. Okay, so on this frame, first thing I want to point out is a little bit of a waggle dance down here from this bee. You see that? And what she's doing is telling all these other girls, hey, I found some nectar. Probably the apple trees. I've seen they are starting to bloom. We got some capped brood. We got some brood that needs capped here before long. Things look good. On the Ohio Facebook page, I'm seeing where beekeepers in southern Ohio are already seeing swarming, so more brood. Now, one thing a lot of people do on their first inspection is they'll take the top box and they'll put it on the bottom. And that's because early in the or late in the winter, that's where the bees are. They're in the top box. Okay, this is just a frame of open and capped brood. We got some nectar here, some nectar over here. The reason they switch the top box is because as spring starts, the queen will start laying where the cluster is, which is usually in the top box. So when we go in and make our first inspection, it just makes sense to go ahead and put the box with the bees in it down on the bottom and put the empty one on top, because bees like to move up, not so much down. So I don't know that I will be doing that, just because looking down through this top box here, I can see that the bottom box is pretty loaded with bees. We've got lots of wet nectar on this end. We've got some brood of all stages on this side. More nectar here, capped brood. So far no drone brood. But this is a medium box and it probably did not have any drone comb in it. Very good girls so far. Very proud of them. They're all hard at work, not paying attention to Dad. Okay, this one's all wet nectar with some honey or some pollen stores mixed in. Same on this side. And then the next frame is barely got any bees on it. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide all of these frames back over and put my frame back in that I took out. I don't want to go reorganizing what they're used to. So there they go. That's all back the way it was. Now before I move this top box, I want to go ahead and tell you, looking down through this top box into the bottom box, I see there's a very nice population. I also see that beekeeper Jason did not remove his Mite away quick strips. So yes, they are still on the hive. I guess that shows you it did not harm the bees. I don't know that there's any evidence that it did anything beneficial leaving them on, but you are going to see them, and I am going to have to remove them now. So let's give them one more puff of smoke here. Push these girls back down in. Crack the back of the box a little bit. Throw them a puff in there. And I found one of my drone frames down here, so maybe that's where the drones are hanging out, huh? Okay, so as I just told you, here's what's left of the Mite away quick strip here and down here. Guess it does show you that I did treat for mites, huh? That's about it. Supposed to remove those, Jason. Aren't you supposed to be teaching good examples, Jason? What is your problem, you beekeeper in the country? Alright, I was just trying to show you that it didn't hurt them. That's what it was. Well, I achieved that, so now we'll move forward. So this green frame here, it's very large celled foundation. It's actually for just drone comb to be built. I use that so that I get a high drone population for my queens, and it's also a way to control varroa mites. You pull that frame out when it's full, you freeze it, you stick it back in the hive a couple days later. And what the freezing does is it kills the drones. Varroa mites prefer to lay in drone cells. So in theory, by killing the whole frame of drones, you're killing a large population of varroa mites. So our queen ought to be down here. Just wanted to point out here real quick, I got some drone comb or burr comb here that I need to remove. And look here. A lot of people call this a queen cell. This is not a queen cell. This is a queen cup. It's not a queen cell until it has an egg in it and they start to draw it down more. At this point, it's useless. It's not of any harm. You do want to keep an eye on them though. If you start to see a bunch of these showing up in your hives, these cups, they're thinking about doing something. All right, let's move this frame over. You got everything super propolis from winter. Okay, so the back of this frame, nothing. This side, completely pollen. That's a lot of pollen right there. A lot of maple. I see some dead nettles, the red. You see the orange? Yep, that's right. And the last 5 or 6 days I've been noticing a lot of dandelions. And that's what the orange is from this early in the year. You'll also get orange from asparagus, but looking at mine here at the house, it's not even up yet. You'll notice when you go to make your first hive inspection, if you haven't already, how much propolis they just have on all this stuff. Lots of pollen. Lots of pollen. A lot more pollen with some brood. There's a nice little patch of brood. I got some baby bees walking around. That's pretty cool to see. Unless I overlooked the queen, I don't know that we've came to her yet. Some more brood, pollen. Here's a good way to know if your hives are starving. Find your brood frames and see if they've got any nectar on those frames. Right here, they seem to be having a nice band run down this side, and then they've got pollen over here. When you don't see any nectar on the frames with the brood, that's a good sign you need to feed. Okay, so this drone frame. So as you can see, there are all drone cells. They are putting nectar in it. They have raised some drones. I do not see the queen on this side. There's my lovely queen. Pretty girl. I'll give you a nice look at her there. That's a JC's Bees queen right there. But anyway, I noticed over here on this side, speaking of queen cups, right here is one. Now what you can do, if you are worried that that's going to turn into something, just take your hive tool and tear it. Just like that. Now it's no harm. So probably what I will do, now that I've got my feeding spacer removed, is later today, tomorrow, I will start feeding SERP and my frame feeder. Or any kind of feeder that you have would be safe to feed inside the hive. Frame of nectar, no bees. That actually doesn't have much comb, and there's a pretty cockroach running down the bottom of the frame. Yummy. It's funny how cockroaches love to hang out in the beehives. Okay, so now I'm going to slide all these frames back over, just like I did on the top, and put it back together just the way it was. Okay, now we put this frame back over here, and I will stick in my frame feeder and stick the medium back on top. I will take and smoke the bees now, push them back down in there a little bit. I'm going to give them this pollen patty back that's left. I can't see any reason to waste it. They're obviously still chewing on it some. So we'll stick it right up here for them to do so. We've got a couple days of rain coming, so that'll be good. That'll give them something to chew on while it's raining. Now I'm not going to stick my spacer ring back on, so I will just lay my lid back on there now and close this hive up and consider it done. Now I will be coming back and putting SERP in that feeder like I already stated. So there you go, that's one of my big hive inspections. What I'd like to do now is maybe take you down and let you see what my nukes are looking like. We'll go through one of them real quick. Okay, so let's check this double nuke and see how it's looking. A little bit of smoky. Dad's coming. And they're not eating their pollen patty very quick, are they? So that may just be removed completely. Yeah, they haven't done anything to that. couple little holes here and there, nothing like the big hives. Now on this one, they did eat some of it. And looky there. If you look really close, there's some larvae walking around. That actually would be hive beetle larvae. And this is why a lot of people don't feed pollen patties in the hive. But at the same time, to boost the colony's population, you have to give them some pollen. So you've kind of got to weigh your options. Do you want to battle the hive beetles? There's another right here walking around. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. Yeah, so those will be removed. Feeding spacer coming off, just like the big hives. We're done with it. Yep, get off the sugar, because one, I don't want to squish you. Come on, girls. Okay, now it looks like we're safe to pick up the sugar brick. Funny, hard to believe that's just regular dry sugar poured in there, and then it collects any moisture in the hive and turns to that brick. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, remove the wax paper. You know, it's stupid things like removing the wax paper where you get stung. You gotta curl it up in your hand and there's a bee on it. You just watch your move. Bees don't want to die. They don't want to sting you. They would rather avoid it. So we'll start by removing this outside frame here and getting it out of our way. I have to ask myself, what the heck just happened here? For some reason, this piece of comb stuck to the sidewall down inside of here. So that's going to create a mess that I'm going to have to clean up now. So we'll set this frame off to the side. And we will continue to empty the box so that I can get down to that frame. I think what we'll do is we'll just open this box. Pull this stuff out. And voila, now I've got a place to stick frames. Look at that patch of brood. Look at that big old fat queen right there. Now these are the nukes that I have sold. These are overwintered nukes. So look folks, this is what I raise and this is what I overwintered. It's a double story 5-frame nuke, and look at that brood pattern. Out freaking standing. That little patch there that looks empty is loaded with eggs. This whole side here, missing very, very few cells, is loaded with pollen. Up in this other corner, we've got capped honey, or nectar, well, it would be honey. On this side of the frame, look at that. Look at that frame of brood. Very, very healthy colony right here. Okay, on this frame, let me move my smoker. On this frame, lots of brood, lots of brood. What looks like open brood has eggs or larvae in it. The rest of the frame is wrapped with pollen, and then up in the upper right hand corner we have capped nectar or honey. On this side, gorgeous, about the same thing. And look how thick that honey is over here in this corner. It's an inch thicker than the rest of the frame. We'll stick it in here. And remember, I'm just trying to get down here to where I can take this piece of comb off the sidewall. I know that frame looks like a mess, but that's a lot of drone brood right there. This frame will not be going to a customer. I will have to exchange this just because of the overlapping of comb. This side is nice worker comb. Okay, so I'm going to smoke the bees off. Let me move you in just a little bit closer so that you can see what I'm up against here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of comb that's left, and I'm going to smoke the bees off of it, push them down in the hive, away from the comb. Then I'm going to use my hive tool, and I'm going to reach down under it. Hopefully not kill any bees. I'm going to use my other hand to grab it. I'm going to pinch real softly, just in case there's a bee under my finger. I'm kind of working blindly here. Keep scraping, keep a hold of the comb. Once you get it released, it's going to have a little bit of weight to it. And there's what we got. A big, yucky mess. So I will just get rid of that, and I want to continue scraping this burr comb off this side. And just to make sure this doesn't happen again, I will probably not put that frame back against the edge. So, just to make sure that I don't, let's go ahead and stick it in now. Let me back you back up. Okay, here's that frame with the hole. All right there. We're going to stick it in next, right against this other nice frame. And then we will sandwich it with this good side. So that way they don't have room to draw the comb any way but straight down. Now we will reinstall the rest of these. And go to the bottom box, see how it's looking. And a couple of them start to bat into my veil like it giving me a warning. Listen here, bucko. Here's my queen again. Beautiful frame of brood. I just hate sticking the queen down in there like that. I'm going to take it in nice and slow since the queen's on this frame. Give the chance for the bees to move around and work as you're sliding it down in. Right there just happens to be my queen, right at the top. She went back down in. Just kind of letting the weight of the frame slowly work down in here. We've only got about another ½ inch, girls. Move around. Come on, let's work it. Move around, break it up. Nothing to see here, girls. Okay, frame is down in. Now what we will do is take this box off the top and look down into the next one. See how it's looking. So, this is what an overwintered nuke looks like on the first inspection. So what I'll be able to do, basically, I can take that one with a queen, let them grow a little bit, give this one a virgin queen, let her get mated, and bam, you've got 2 nukes to sell. So, what we'll do now, smoke these girls. Pull the edge frame. I don't get in a big hurry when I'm working the bees. I like to take my time. Sure, taking my time makes the day longer when you got a bunch of hives. Mostly pollen, some nectar. On this side, they're still drawing it out a little bit, but there's nothing stored. We'll store that right here for right now. Next frame over. Nice brood. Got some nectar up in this corner. Got a little bit of pollen down this side. This side got a tiny little bit of brood. It's mostly pollen that you can see here. Okay, what we have on this side, we have some worker brood. I see a couple drone cells right on the right hand edge, and lots of pollen stored. On this side, a nice brood patch, a nice brood patch there in the middle, and we got lots of pollen and some nectar. Remember, I told you those brood frames should have some nectar on them somewhere. If they don't, they need fed. Okay, this frame. We got brood, we got pollen, and some nectar. On this side, same thing. I haven't really seen any drones running around in this one, but I did make an inspection on another colony this morning, the 10 frame colony, and they did have drones. Not very many. They had a lot of capped drone brood, but I did see a couple drones walking around in there, whistling at the ladies. This being an edge frame, I'm not surprised, but it's completely covered in pollen and got some nectar down here on this edge. On this side, a lot more pollen. So now I will throw it back together. Just like all my other inspections, I'm going to put all the frames right back where they were. That may not be how you do it, but that's how I do it. That's how I roll. So there we go. We'll slide this frame down in there. And now we will place this box back up on top. Better smoke these girls down in there. Somebody's gonna get squished. I can just slide this one over, I guess. So like I said, I'll be removing these. They will not be going back on. And we'll lay the lid back on. I should have an inner cover, but... So what did you think? Did you see something I didn't see? What did you think of that queen's performance in that nuke? Woo! She is on fire, huh? Anyway, that's what I raise. I look for good traits and I graft from them queens. Looks like my little procedure is working rather well. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, throw me a big thumbs up. That'll help boost it in the YouTube search ranks and make it easier for other beekeepers to find. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and make sure you click on the little bell so that you get notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching. JC's Bees!